Chosen one, this moment did not arrive by chance. You are not here because you were curious, bored, or scrolling. You are here because this exact moment was meant for you by God. Because the right time has come, and your spirit was ready to know it. God speaks in whispers at times and speaks outright at other times. Today is not a whisper. God told me to interrupt you right now. Dear chosen one, you are on the edge of a threshold. There was a restlessness you couldn't put your finger on, and a quiet pressure that told you life couldn't stay the same. In Ecclesiastes 3:7-1, the Bible says that there is a time for everything under heaven. It's not just a season going by. This is a Kairos moment, an opening set by God, where heaven and earth meet and movement starts. Anointed one, what is going to happen doesn't get pushed back or forgotten. The vision may have seemed to take a long time, but Habakkuk 2:73 says it will come and not wait. God is now talking to you, not to a crowd or to someone who is sure of themselves. He is getting things ready for change that could happen today, tonight, or in the days to come. It will affect your spirit, your strength, and your situation. Also, remember that God doesn't always heal us by giving us answers or explanations. He gives us places that are quiet and simple so that we can go back to them when words fail. If you ever feel the need to come back, I left a small quiet space in the description. Chosen one, pay close attention to this. The Son of Man came to find lost things and save them. But being lost doesn't always mean being rebellious or far away. When you're lost, you might be busy all day, but still feel empty at night. Lost can look like things like functioning, providing, smiling, and showing up. Deep down, you know that you are not in line with what heaven made you to carry. In the past, I stood in this very spot and did all the right things on the outside, while my spirit quietly died on the inside. That's the reason this word is landing where it is now. Chosen one, God didn't interrupt your day to make you feel better and tell you to stay small. He didn't call you here to help you get back into survival mode. He's telling you to go up. There is something alive in him that has been sleeping. He is giving strength back to places you thought were permanently weak. From time to time, I felt weak, not in my body, but in my hope. I could still go to work, and pray the same prayers I always do. But one more letdown made me think that I would never get better. Know this, if that sounds like something you've heard before. God is not turned off by how weak you are. He's not shocked that you're tired. As a father, He knows how to make tired hearts stronger without making them feel bad for being tired. Don't treat this moment like background noise. Chosen one, you shouldn't just listen to this part way while your mind wanders to something else. You can give God this space right now. If you've spent hours scrolling and felt empty and restless, things change when God speaks. When God speaks, chains that logic couldn't break start to come loose. When God speaks, things that seemed set in stone suddenly lose their power. His voice is not there to add spiritual language to your life. His voice brings order where there was chaos, courage where there was fear, and direction where there was confusion. Take another deep breath, not to calm down, but to get ready. Everything I have covered across this channel is now in one place. The prayers, the teachings, the daily blessings. It is all inside the Daily Miracle Manual. Link in the description. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site. You are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today. Join our community and see what God brings back into your life. Make room inside. Let your heart say yes first, then your mind can talk about the price. In my own life, there were times when I finally understood something, not when I fully understood it. It became clear when I stopped fighting what I already knew. God is close now, not far away or looking in from afar. The Bible tells us that when we get close to Him, He gets closer to us too. Not because He doesn't have the strength, but because love can't break through a closed heart. You have been chosen, and now is your time to burn the bush. Not a show to impress other people, but a holy interruption that can't be ignored. This is when God pulls you out of your routine and tells you in a whisper that the story you've been living isn't the whole story. He wrote, "I remember how uncomfortable it was to realize that the life I had carefully built was useful but not fruitful. That thought did not come with thunder. It had a dull pain that wouldn't go away. There was no stress in that pain. It was a request. It's time for you to stop following fear and start following faith. It's not a question of whether God is speaking. The question is whether you're ready to answer. You couldn't ignore the patterns, burdens, and convictions that kept coming back every time you tried to settle for less than what you were made for. These were all signs from God. He spoke to you through closed doors, not to punish you, but to change your mind. I've learned that some closed doors weren't really rejection. They were protection that I didn't understand at the time. Chosen one, you were not made just to survive. You're being called. You have been picked. You have been sent. Right now, you are at a fork in the road. You've felt it when there isn't much noise around. You know that your life can't go on like this. You know you were meant to do more than look forward to the weekend and rest after a hard week. That pull you feel isn't made up. It is a call from God. People are taught to seek success, praise, money, status, and power in this world. And while hard work is honorable and quality matters, hear this truth loud and clear. It's not always true that your job is your calling. A job is like a tool. A calling is a duty. A job can change with the seasons. A calling has roots in eternity. There were years when I set goals that seemed big, only to find out later that God never told me to do them. Success that doesn't come with a plan is loud but empty. Thank yous don't feed the soul. Alignment does that. Picked one. Your calling isn't about the platform. It's not about titles or placement, but about when things happen. Not about trying hard all the time, but about giving up in a holy way. Some people run quickly in the wrong path. Some people build big things that God didn't ask for. That's why the work is pointless, unless the Lord builds the house. God loves you too much to let you waste your life making things that look good, but don't mean anything in the end. Pay attention to this. Your business doesn't pose a threat to the enemy. He is scared of your obedience. Things that happen don't scare him. Alignment does that. Obedience gives you power. Being obedient is important. It costs something too. Giving up costs control. It costs ease. It costs the part of you that needs to be sure before you obey. But the life you were meant to live is on the other side of giving up. Picked. The next step will need honesty and courage. So this is where we stop. Heaven is about to make the next step very clear. And the way forward is becoming clear. You have been chosen. Let's go deeper now. Because what God is showing us can't stay on the surface. There's a question that's been building up inside you. How can I be sure that what God has given me to do is real? There is no doubt about that question. It's getting ready. Heaven doesn't ask hearts that aren't ready to ask about assignments. And one of the main ways God shows us our calling is not through ease, but through difficulty. This is not the weight that makes you feel crushed or hopeless. This is the weight that wakes you up, the one that comes back even after you tell it to go away, the one that changes the way you pray, what you notice, and what you can't stand anymore. There were times when certain things would not leave my heart alone. I tried to explain them away by telling myself that someone else, someone smarter, more capable, or more sure of themselves, would take care of it. But the weight of it stayed on my shoulders. And in the end, I understood that it stayed there because heaven put it there. Picked one. What really hurts you and won't go away? What kind of unfairness makes you feel something stronger than emotion? What kind of pain do you see that other people don't? When you are tired and want to take a break, what need keeps pulling at you? Random sensitivity is not what that is. Often, that's God speaking. In order to put someone in their place, the Lord puts his worries inside that person. The platform comes after the load. The pain comes before the assignment can be seen. The Bible tells us when we take pleasure in the Lord, he shapes our heart's desires. Those wants aren't always about comfort or pleasure. Sometimes they are good desires that God planted in our hearts. Wants to fix what's broken and add what's missing. To stand where others run away. To speak up where silence has become normal. And to serve where no one wants to be seen. You are not alone if you have felt these kinds of desires growing. You are being shaped. Chosen one, here's another truth that might help you stay strong. God-sized tasks make you humble. These things don't boost your ego. They make you feel good about how small you are. They force you to say, Lord, I can't do this without you. That's how you usually know it's Him. God doesn't ask you to do things that you can do on your own. He wants you to depend on Him, work with Him, and be in situations where His power is clear, because you are weak. I used to think that calling would come to me all at once, with confidence and clarity. It didn't. The complete guide, every daily prayer, every spiritual tool, everything I've put together to help you grow your faith is down in the description. It's called the Daily Miracle Manual. Now, stay right here with me, because as this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. It came with shaky obedience and steps taken before full understanding was reached. That's why the Bible says that God's grace is enough, and that His power is made perfect in weakness. That's not just a fancy phrase. It's a law of spirit. When you stop acting like you're enough and trust that He is, things change. Picked. Giving up will cost you something. It will keep costs down. It will cost you comfort. The part of you that wants promises before obedience will pay a price. Certainty is not necessary for faith to work. Faith acts before it sees. When faith doesn't understand, it obeys. God doesn't reward safety that looks like faith. He gives gifts to people who look for Him and believe in Him enough to move. And pay attention to this. Clear thinking is not a reward for being comfortable. You get clarity by following through. The light comes after the step, not before it. God usually gives lamplight instead of floodlight. Just enough light to see the next step, not the whole road. As you move forward, more light shows up. He is teaching you to trust, not to be in charge. The fog starts to clear when you stop trying to get status and start doing what you're told. The confusion that was holding you back starts to lift. A direction starts to take shape in a quiet but firm way. When you wake up, you no longer ask yourself, "What am I doing with my life?" Instead, You feel like you have a purpose. Your prayers change. Your priorities change. Your inner life gets more important and weighty. Picked. When you are anchored in assignment, something else takes place. You depend on approval less and less. You no longer need affirmations all the time to feel stable. Even though opposition may still show up, it no longer has the last word. This is also important. Provision comes after purpose. Not because God is greedy, but because He is trustworthy. God doesn't give up on what He chooses. He doesn't say yes and then disappear. He opens doors. He sends help. At the right time, He gives us wisdom, strength, strategy, and favor. When you listen to your calling, you stop building towers for yourself and start building altars of surrender. You stop trying to be famous and start trying to help people. From looking for the spotlight to carrying it. You turn into a vessel, not perfect, but open. Not well known, but useful. Not praised, but devoted, the one who was chosen. Heaven is not calling like everyone else, or in the most popular way. Heaven is calling those who will listen. The world doesn't need a better show. It needs to be there. There needs to be people who pray without anyone seeing. People who refuse to give in when it would be easier to do so. To be valuable, you don't have to be seen. Tasks that are very important often happen in secret. Some of the best victories are the ones that don't get any praise. Heaven keeps track of what people miss. Even if no one claps, heaven will still praise those who obey. Heaven is watching you right now. What's coming up will make you question who you are and what you thought was possible. If you are still here, chosen one, it means that you are responding on the inside. That quiet stirring you've been feeling lately isn't your imagination. It's not leftover feelings. It's God calling you again, and this time it's clear. He called you when it was quiet and no one could see the battle you were in. He called you in the middle of the chaos, when it seemed like there was no direction. He called you when there was no one to answer right away. His voice is calling you right now, telling you to step back and listen. Do not walk by this meeting. I say that in a soft but firm way, because I know what happens when we don't pay attention to times like these. Fear starts to plan your future. Logic starts to shut down what faith is trying to bring into the world. You tell yourself that you'll act later, when you feel safer, when the timing seems clearer, or when things get better. When God calls, though, it doesn't always make sense. The Spirit gets it. It gets hot. It comes back. It won't let you be alone. not because God wants to hurt you, but because He loves you too much to let you die while you're busy. To the chosen one, the time of passive waiting is coming to an end. Yeses that are only partly true are coming to an end. God is calling you to serve kingdom that can't be shaken, instead of building your own small kingdom. He wants you to leave the comfort of your own home and take on a mission. There's no need to do more. This is about getting more aligned. The Bible tells us that when we receive an unshakable kingdom, we should respond with awe and reverence, not with performance. God doesn't want us to be perfect. He already knows what makes you weak. You don't need to show Him your credentials. He is the one who suits. There was a time when I thought I needed to clean up before I said yes. I thought trust came before obedience. God doesn't wait for polish, though. He wants people to give up. If you trust, heaven will answer. Heaven rewards those who obey. Heaven says yes to that simple, costly, and powerful word. Not a strong yes. Not a very strong yes. A quiet yes. That changes your pace and priorities. Pick it. You were not made just to get likes, promotions, or praise. You were made to make a difference, to start a movement that lasts longer than attention, to bring about change that goes beyond your own comfort zone. You were made to bring light to places that are dark, not because you have no fear, but because you want to. You can change the mood of a place by how you live, speak, and stay true, even when fear tells you to bow down. You make the world a better place. That doesn't mean you shine in a loud way. It means that you shine through. There is no fight between light and darkness. It just shows up. And when light comes into a room, the darkness changes without warning. Get up, chosen one. Get rid of the weight that you've gained from carrying things that you were not meant to carry by yourself. Wipe away the tears you kept from people who didn't know what it cost you to follow their orders. Stop having doubts that keep coming back to old mistakes. God has already saved. Get over your fear. Step into your purpose. Take charge. Not the power that makes people feel good, but the power that comes from being in sync. Come to the place where your life starts to match what heaven wrote about you. Picked, called, or given a job. You weren't just born to get through this world. You were made to make a difference. Not by force, but by being there. Let's pray now. Not as actors or with scripted words, but as people who are ready to change. Holy God, strong Father, you are beyond time, but still enter our lives. We come with open and honest hearts. We want you to wake up what's been sleeping. Break the chaos that has kept us going in circles instead of forward. Tear down the lies that told us we were born to be small when you wrote about how our lives will grow. Get rid of the fear that has kept you from obeying. Cleanse aims that have been mixed up. Bring back first love where routine has taken the place of respect. Please forgive us for picking safety over what was holy, for being busy but not getting anything done, for treating obedience like a choice and purpose like a side project. We're going to lay out all the plans we made without you today, every comfort we held on to, and every reason we gave for not obeying. We agree without making a deal. Yes, no strings attached. Yes, even if you don't fully understand. Yes, even if it means giving up something easy. Yes, even if it means leaving behind what we know. Start the fire again. Give courage to hearts that are tired. Let clarity rise where there was confusion. Let faith rise up in everyone who hears this. Let this moment be more than just feeling. It should be an altar, a turning point, or a mark that lasts. Protect this word so it turns into action instead of just feeling, or movement instead of just memory. We're not going to stay the same. The call will not be cut off. For what comes next, you will need to follow through. And heaven is already getting ready for the chosen one to come. What God is doing now is not a sign. It's not just an idea. It's not just meant to make you feel something and then go away. This is where heaven starts to go from calling to confirming, from stirring to shifting, and from lining up inside to showing up outside. This is where a lot of people hesitate because the next step needs trust, while the evidence hasn't fully arrived yet. Pay attention to this. The supernatural transfer doesn't start when the resources show up. It starts once the alignment is done. It's happened to me many times, and it's happened other people who answered the call. Things changed before provision showed up. Before the doors opened, obedience grew stronger. Before promotion came along, giving up was not an option. Heaven doesn't let go of weight for hands that are still in charge. Chosen one, some of the things you've been through lately were not a delay. It was a detox. God was taking away your ties, expectations, and habits that wouldn't work where He was taking you. That's why some things stopped working. That's why some people stopped going. I think this is why tried and true strategies stopped working. In no way was it punishment. It was getting ready. You can't bring new oil in old containers. As I remember, there was a time when income dropped just as obedience rose. It felt like going backward. Reason said to run away. Faith told me to stay. Now that I look back, I can see that God was changing how I depended on Him. He was teaching me that planning ahead is better than panicking. When alignment was locked in, doors opened that strategy could never have reached on its own. Things are going the same way around you. You have been chosen, and now heaven is about to give you more power, responsibility, and provision. But increase is never given out without being checked first. God tests stewardship for a long time before giving out supplies. He watches how you deal with things that you can't see, hear, or inconvenient. He watches how you act when doing what He says costs you something real. There were tests you didn't even know you were taking that you passed. This is why what comes next might seem sudden to other people, but not to you. They'll say it was lucky. They'll say that everything worked out. But you'll know it was obedience slowly building up over time. You'll know that every unseen yes, every time you turned down a quick fix, and every time you chose honesty over convenience, was building something that heaven could trust. The supernatural transfer of the chosen one isn't just about money, though it will have an effect on money. It has to do with placement, authority, and access. You're about to walk into some rooms, not because you pushed your way in, but because heaven made the way clear. There are opportunities coming up that fit both your skills and your job. And when these doors open, you'll feel peace protect your steps instead of worry propelling them. The Bible tells us that promotion only comes from the Lord and not from the east or the west. When you stop looking for height and start looking out for alignment, that truth becomes real. God is moving you so that the things that come to you don't make you bad. People are destroyed by growth without surrender. Increase with obedience sets them up. I want to be clear with you, chosen one. You will need to be smart about what you are stepping into. You can't just walk through any open door. Not every chance is a good one. But when God opens a door, you will feel confirmed, have peace in your heart, and be given what you need if you obey. You won't have to lie, cheat, or break your values in order to get through it. Next, you'll find out who was meant to walk with you and who was only meant to walk close for a while. Do not be sad about what God takes away. Removal is often just a fancy word for mercy. He is making sure that what He is building through you is honest. It's not failure if some connections can't handle growth. That is the point. Picked one. From preparation to placement, from instruction to execution, and from internal confirmation to evidence from outside sources, you are making progress. At first, the change might not seem very big, but over time, it will be clear that something has changed. Small changes will add up. There will be new rhythms. Your choices will be clear instead of confusing. And people will start to feel the weight of authority on your life, even if they can't put their finger on it. Stay rooted, stay obedient, and stay surrendered, because what's coming is not weak. It has been proven. As for how you handle what heaven is about to give you, the next part of this word will tell you right away. Picked. Now we talk about stewardship, because more money without knowledge is a burden instead of a blessing. What God is getting ready to give you isn't meant to impress other people. It's supposed to establish you, and that takes maturity. Heaven doesn't take away the weight of a heart that still wants approval from people who can't take responsibility. A lot of people miss the moment here. People pray for doors to open, but they're not ready for the discipline that comes after the door does. They want more, but they don't know how to keep the peace when things get tough. This is something I learned the hard way. There were times when God answered my prayers so quickly that I couldn't keep up. I had to be slowed down too. I wasn't kicked out because I wasn't good enough. I needed to be strengthened. What's coming will test you, but it won't break you. Chosen one. God makes what He wants to strengthen stronger. You will have to choose obedience every day, not just sometimes. There will no longer be an idea of being faithful. There will be a beat to it. And that rhythm will lead to stability, clarity, and long-lasting favor. If you want the full guide, with every prayer and lesson I've compiled for this community, check the description for the Daily Miracle Manual. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit Community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit Out Community now, join the family, and see your heavens open. You need to remember this truth. God doesn't like chaos. He loves order, not perfect, but in the right place. Your habits will matter when heaven gives you more. It will matter what your limits are. It will matter how much rest you get. It will matter how you talk, listen, and act. When you're under a lot of stress, making small decisions over and over again shows stewardship long before it is put to the test in big ones. You have been chosen, and now is the time when wisdom will protect you more than hard work ever could. You need to learn how to move and stop, how to say no and yes without feeling bad about it. Not every request is worth your time. Not every invitation fits with what you need to do. It will no longer be rebellion to say no. It's going to be obey. I remember a time when there were a lot of opportunities, and I felt like I had to take them all because I was afraid that the doors would close again. But God gently but firmly told me what I did wrong. He taught me that thinking about lack doesn't belong in a blessed time. What He opens doesn't need to be kept secret. He doesn't have to hurry what He sends. I was safe because I trusted people. Picked one. Let peace help you see things. No matter how good it seems, if something pulls you out of alignment, drains your spirit, or asks you to give in, it is not from God. Whenever God sends more, it comes with clarity instead of chaos, peace instead of panic, and order instead of chaos. Being humble will also be needed this season. Being humble without shrinking is what I mean. The type that knows where God found you. The kind that won't forget the nights you prayed alone, without being seen, with doubt, but with faith. Pride makes it hard for people to receive grace. Being humble keeps the flow going. Even when you are high, stay open to learning. Trust someone, but don't stop being dependent on them. Picked. Some people will get this version of you wrong. They'll say you've changed, which you have. For people who benefited from your disorder, alignment always looks like change. Don't try to explain yourself to people who aren't supposed to understand. Obedience doesn't need agreement. You need to be brave. You might also notice that God is making your life easier. fewer distractions, better focus, and stronger beliefs. No, this is not a restriction. This is the point. God doesn't do more than one thing at a time. It makes it stronger. As you become more aligned, you'll feel less scattered, be able to handle less noise, and move with more purpose. Picked one. So this is how you leave a legacy. Quietly, devotedly, and over. Not during times of excitement, but during times of consistency. As simple as it may seem, what God is giving you now will affect many generations to come. Do not look down on small starts. God often hides greatness in things that seem simple. And pay attention to this. You're not the only one who feels this way. God isn't sending you somewhere He won't take care of you. There will be a time for help. When it's needed, wisdom will be there. When you feel stretched, your strength will go up. He gives what He is told all the time. Try not to look back and ask old versions of yourself for permission as you move forward. You're not going back to being the person you were. You are becoming the person you planned to be. The next part of this word will talk about endurance. Because keeping what God gives you is just as holy as getting it. Picked. Endurance is a quiet sign that someone is an adult. It is holy to receive, but it is holy to sustain. What God puts in your life now will need to be consistent for a long time after the feelings go away. This is where a lot of people fail, not because they aren't called, but because they don't realize how much obedience there is after the breakthrough. Some people think that resistance goes away once alignment is reached. It doesn't. Resistance changes how it looks. The fights get less loud, more subtle, and more personal. Opposition is replaced by distraction. Fear is replaced by tiredness. It tries to dull reverence with familiarity. That's why endurance is important. Endurance isn't exciting. It means choosing to be faithful when no one is looking and when there is no reason to act right away. This is something I learned during times when prayers were answered and then there was silence. After the excitement wore off, responsibility stayed. God was teaching me that discipline, not adrenaline, is what keeps you going. By showing up when you don't feel like it and protecting your inner life when your outer life speeds up. By staying put when praise or stress tries to pull you away from your center. Picked. To be endurance, you'll have to refuse to take shortcuts. There will be times when compromise seems like the best option, when it makes sense to break rules, and when it feels like you're losing ground to slow down. But going fast without going anywhere wastes energy. God takes time to build. He sets things up over time. When things are rushed, they often fall apart under their own weight. The Bible tells us to keep going in the race that has been set out for us, not someone else's race or a pace that is based on comparison. There is a rhythm to your work. Respect it. You don't have to run faster than other people to be useful. You need to stay in line. Staying in your lane when other things try to pull you off course is what endurance is. You have been chosen. Learn to take care of your inner life on purpose. It can't become optional to pray. Leisure time can't turn into rest. Noise can't be used instead of reflection. These are not add-ons for calling. They are the base. Burnout is not proof that you obey. Often, it means something is out of balance. God doesn't want you to give up your health to show that you are devoted. He tells you to be a good steward. There were times when I thought that being tired meant that I was committed. God changed that way of thinking. He taught me that being empty doesn't make him look good. Long-term obedience does. Follow God's pace so you don't fall apart under the blessing you prayed for. A lot of the time, slow obedience is better than quick sacrifice. For chosen one, endurance will also need forgiveness, but not as a feeling. It will need it as a habit. When you move on, old wounds will try to come back to the surface. When you get clear, offenses will knock harder. Do not bring anger into a time when you need to have clean hands and a pure heart. To forgive is not to forget. It means getting rid of weight that doesn't belong to you anymore. You might also need to let go of the times you were late and missed out on moments. For the times you hesitated when you should have been brave. In a saved life, shame has no power. Time is saved by God. He uses mistakes in new ways. When you have endurance, you stop thinking about past mistakes and start valuing present obedience. Pick it. There will be days when following the rules seems normal, when nothing interesting takes place, when you say prayers all the time. You shouldn't forget how important these days are. Being faithful in the everyday things makes it easier to do the extraordinary. God sees what you do on days when nothing happens. They are practice for bigger jobs that come later. Do not dislike repeating things. Heaven builds trust by being consistent. Little acts of loyalty add up to power over time. What you think is unimportant to you is often important to God. Endurance isn't pretty, but it's strong. Remember this as you go on. This is not being kept up by just you. Grace does things. strength is given. Not people who rush ahead, but people who wait on him. Stop when you feel tired. Get back to the center when you feel stretched. When you're not sure what to do, remember what he already told you. Picked. Having endurance will make you strong enough to handle more without losing respect. When doors open, this person doesn't forget where they came from. Someone who can stay steady even when things change. This makes an impact that lasts. What comes next will talk about how to finish well, because heaven cares about how you start and how you finish. What you were given to look after. Picked. Being able to finish well is a spiritual discipline, not a personality trait. Lots of them start with passion. Few people finish with honesty. Heaven is watching not only how bravely you take the first step, but also how loyal you are when the newness wears off and the responsibility sets in. Getting something done has spiritual weight. People who follow God learn to value both the beginning and the end of what they believe in. This is where refinement gets stronger. To finish well, you have to keep doing what God gave you even when it stops being fun. It means you don't lower your standards to keep going. It means you stay true to yourself even when shortcuts seem like they would get you results faster. I've seen people get what they prayed for and then waste their whole lives trying to keep it. Getting things done well keeps you from losing touch with your calling. Picked. Focus is needed to finish. They are not the frantic kind, but the calm kind. The kind that knows where it's going and doesn't take side trips that aren't necessary. There will be people who question your speed. Some people will try to get you to speed up or change directions. Pay close attention to the voice that called you first. The same God who gave you this task is committed to seeing it through to completion. The Bible tells us that faithfulness is shown by how long you stay true. You got here by being persistent. Keep your mind on the task at hand. When you finish well, it often looks quiet. It looks like continuing to obey, even though the applause has moved on to something else. It looks like honesty when there is compromise that would not be seen. That makes it look like honoring God alone when no one is watching. Chosen one. There will be times when it seems easier to stop than to keep going. You might feel tired and think that enough has been done. There is a chance that the effect is not as big as thought, but heaven has its own standards. Being faithful never goes to waste. What you can't see is often being recorded in ways you can't see yet. I remember times when I wasn't sure if staying the course was worth it. Things moved slowly. There wasn't much feedback. But now that we look back, those seasons set the stage for everything that came after. It didn't feel strong to finish well at the time. In hindsight, it turned out to be strong. God likes it when things are finished because it shows trust. Picked one. Finishing well also means letting go of things you can't change. You are in charge of obedience, not outcomes. God takes care of fruitfulness. What He asked of you is to be honest, not to force what He promised. When people are under a lot of pressure to perform, they often forget this difference. Let obedience be what you give. Let Him be responsible for the results. You may notice that as certain seasons come to an end, God starts to make things easier again. Some things will just go away on their own. Some old methods may no longer be useful. This isn't loss. This is the change. When you finish one assignment, it gets you ready for the next one. When hearts stay open, God ends chapters in a clean way. You were chosen, so don't rush the endings. Respect them. Think about what you've learned. Take note of where grace took you. Not only thank God for what He did through you, but also for what He built in you. Being humble is rooted in gratitude. Being humble helps you live longer. The quiet power of people who finish well lies with them. They don't have to say anything about it. Others can feel it. It's easy to trust them around them. Consistency increases over time. Heaven values completion because it shows who He is. Hold on. Stay true to God. Stay in line. You are closer than you think to seeing everything God had planned for you when He first called your name. The last part of this word will seal what has been said, not with hype, but with clarity and command. Picked one. Not with noise, but with weight. This is where the word rests. What was said over you is not meant to go by quickly. It's meant to rest on you. Heaven doesn't want us to do anything. Heaven is asking us to agree. It's not loud to agree. Agreement lines up. In order to get to this point, you had to go through calling, surrender, alignment, stewardship, endurance, and completion. God doesn't reveal things in pieces by accident. There was no information here. Commissioning was what it was. And being commissioned always means taking on responsibility. Not stress, but understanding. Not fear, but direction. Chosen one, please understand this. You are no longer waiting for permission. You need courage right now. God has already told you what He wants to do through you. The proof has been building up quietly. The doors are lining up. Resources are being placed. right now. People are getting ready to meet your obedience at the right time. Heaven doesn't rush time, but it also doesn't miss it. This is not the time to pull back, not out of fear or pride, but because you want to be steady. You don't need applause to move forward. Do what they say without being told. Trust without always needing to be reassured. More than you know, you have been trained for this moment. What seemed like a delay was actually progress. Instructions were given in what felt like silence. Dear chosen one, keep your yes simple, not dramatic and not a show. A strong yes, a daily yes, a yes that shows up when your mood changes. An answer, yes, that picks loyalty over fun. When people obey in this way, heaven moves quietly and strongly. Do not forget how powerful consistency can be. People all over the world love flashes. Heaven praises those who are faithful. The world likes people who can be seen. Heaven rewards those who obey. You are being trained to carry something that will last and needs roots, not hype. As you move forward, be ready for confirmation, but don't count on it. Expect to be provided for, but don't go after it. Be ready for opposition, but don't be scared of it. Anything that rises against alignment can't last. What God sets up, He keeps going. Let go of the need to convince anyone, chosen one. The truth doesn't need to be defended. Light doesn't need to be blessed. Be careful, but don't say sorry as you walk. Those who are in charge of your journey will be able to tell when you are being obedient. People who aren't will leave without being told why. That's fine. It's not over yet. This is the top of what has already started. Be humble as you carry it. Do your best to carry it. Trust yourself and carry it. Heaven is looking down, not to test you again, but to work with you. Hold on tight. Do what you're told. Stay open. Now move forward. Picked. The last letter of this word is not the. It settles down in power. What heaven let go of today is already moving, aligning, and unfolding in ways you might not see yet, but will soon. Right now is your crowning moment, the time when obedience meets speed and faith meets confirmation. The transfer you felt wasn't a sign. It was real, and it's already started. Blessed one, stay steady. Stay in line. Don't be too quick with grace or too slow with fear. What God wants to happen will happen exactly as planned. Blessing is coming out. Strength is being renewed and clarity is being brought back. Move forward with thanks instead of worry. Based on trust instead of trying. Heaven always follows through on what it starts. May peace keep your mind safe. May you be wise and follow your path. May the provision serve its purpose. Could doors open and close without any trouble? May you be able to tell when the right time is and have the courage to say yes when heaven pushes you forward. You're not behind. We haven't forgotten about you. You're right where you should be. For those who felt this word, you can leave a simple agree in the comments or share it quietly with someone who needs strength today. Let it be an act of unity, not duty, and a sign of alignment, not performance. A gentle, useful spiritual reminder has also been made and put somewhere quiet for you. This is when you should calm down and look at both the description and the pinned comment. Let them tell you what to do next. Be at peace, chosen one. Stay true to God. Stay thankful. You won't miss what God has told you to do. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided e-books and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.